What's happening, everybody? I'm Steve, and welcome back to Junkdrummer TV, where I give my initial reactions, my hot takes, and my analysis on the drummers of today and yesterday, and maybe tomorrow if I stick around that long. I'm a professional drum teacher and a geeky musician, and I have been for the last 20 plus years. Today's episode is fulfilling a promise because I already did an episode on Tomas Haake. I worked on it this time, of Meshuggah. But when I did that video, it was right at the beginning of the quarantine, and I used a video that was maybe not the greatest fidelity, but I had to do it because I knew I needed to not be copyright claimed for that video. This episode will also allow me to express my appreciation to all of my viewers and all of my subs and all of my patrons on my Patreon and everyone who has donated through PayPal. When I started this channel, I started it because my last band came off the road and I had a lot of free time. And I never thought that I would have to rely on the income that YouTube generates. Then the end of the world happened, and the quarantine came, and I went from teaching, I think I had 52 students a week, and on the week of March 16th, I went from 52 students down to I think I did 17 for a few months, and all of a sudden, I was forced to live on YouTube income. And it's not anything to write home about. I'm not going to have a Mercedes-Benz in my driveway anytime soon, but it helped big time. I was able to pay rent and eat during that time. Now, the last 3 months or so, things are kind of back to normal. I think I'm back up to 30 some students, but I went from teaching 6 days a week to now I'm only teaching 4. That reminds me, if you're interested in studying with me, I am offering Skype lessons. Just get hold of me on my email, which is on my About tab, or hit me up on Instagram. And I said at the time that I would go and do this video because this has been the most requested video of all time on my channel. Now, I didn't really want to do it because I know Garrett's done it before, and I try to, me and him have kind of a thing where we try not to do the same content. But because of all of you supporting me, liking, commenting, and sharing, helping me out with the algorithm, you really did help out a guy who was struggling for months on end during that quarantine. So I cannot thank you enough. Now, so again, I've already done an episode on him. Please go check that out, because I also talk about when I discovered Meshuggah for the first time, which involves Adult Sage and an early 90s Geostorm. So that's enough of the preamble. All you really have to state is Devin Townsend said, we're all trying to rip off Meshuggah. So let's check out Tomas Haake of Meshuggah playing Bleed.
Are you fucking ready?
Okay, now I know why everyone wanted me to do this video. Jesus. Okay, so that's going to give me a chance right off the bat to do a little education time, kids. I've described and explained this pattern before in the Carter Beauford video, but it was with your hands. He's doing it with the feet, which makes it, of course, a little bit harder. And it seems like Thomas never passes up a chance to make shit harder. So what he's doing on his feet is he's playing a herta. If you're a drumline guy or girl, you know that this isn't a big deal. It's to you all, it's not that big a deal because it's such a common pattern. So think about 16th notes, right? 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1. Now what you're going to do is take every other 16th note. And I'm going to play an accent right now to kind of show you which note I'm talking about. So you're thinking 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and, right? We've all done that. Now, what you do is you take that accent and you put two 30-second notes on it. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3. So he's doing that on the feet while keeping eighth notes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 because halftime, right? Now, what's difficult about that? Now, I'm going to preface this with I am no double bass player at all. I play double bass just well enough to teach it. It's not something I've ever been in a band to do. But what the added difficulty of doing that on your feet is when you're thinking about your right hand pattern, 1 and 2 and so every 30-second note is with your right hand and then off, and then on, off, on, off, on, off, and that's really difficult. And that pattern lines up back on the 1 every 3 measures. And I don't know if it's a real 3/4 polyrhythm, but it kind of is. Yeah, man, that's next level shit right there. So now it's sneaky. So the first part is just like a classic Herta over and over and over, and now the second verse, I guess, he's mixing it up, and it's not the same. And if you listen to Meshuggah, they very rarely do the same thing, once, if you know what I mean. He's playing ghost notes on the left hand while he's doing that. And with, in a loud metal band, you might not hear. Jesus. Polyrhythms, math. Well, that would take me 2 hours to figure out what just happened there. You're not going to get that in this video. And he's also playing kind of like a linear thing in his right hand right there. If you know anything about Meshuggah, they're really influenced by like fusion and jazz. So the thing about Meshuggah is they play in 4/4 a lot, but it's always fucking weird 5/4 polyrhythms and shit. But it's toolish but different. The 1 is a rumor during that section. But I was right there with the ghost notes. One of those things where, like, even if the crowd doesn't really hear those, it helps with your inner clock and your groove. Like, those ghost notes are really for him, not really for us. He's peppering in those Hertas in different places, and it's locking in with what the guitar part's doing. In metal, a lot of times, the bass guitar, bass drummer thing is more like the rhythm guitar drum set relationship. The 1 is a rumor. about his technique. He is so relaxed. He looks like a big dude. It might be just his drumming gives the essence of gigantism. But his technique is it's so easy. He never, well, I mean, this is one of the greatest drummers in the world, so obviously he's going to make it look easy. But his technique is so dead on perfect. And that, I always talk about this with students. Good technique just makes everything easier, and that's what we're trying to do. Shit's hard enough as it is. Let's try to find every possible way to make it easier. And just, his technique is a really good, like, if you were wanting to cop someone's technique, this would be a guy to do. Yeah, man. I mean, like, dude, Meshuggah came in and changed the game. Like, I remember all of my metalhead friends. This is gonna get me crucified, but like Meshuggah was like what Nirvana did to rock in the 90s is what Meshuggah did to metal in the 90s. Like, I think I heard them for the first time in 96, 7, 8ish. Like I said, go watch the other Meshuggah video that I did, and at the end of that is the story time about how I found Meshuggah. But man, every metal head friend of mine was just like, this band is unlike anything you've ever heard. I think the first record, in there they even thanked like Chick Corea and like maybe the Yellow Jackets, but like a lot of like American fusion bands. And you're here, like there was that little section that I mentioned where he's kind of doing like this, like little, like linear, like almost like you'd think like a David Garibaldi groove. They took influences that really hadn't been seen in metal before. A lot of that over-the-top fusion drumming of the 80s that was really polyrhythm influence, like Will Kennedy and Dave Weckl, and then made it just bone-crushing Swedish metal. And I asked this in the last video of him, and I'll ask again. First, is Europe doing metal better than us? And two, what metal band has come along in the since Meshuggah and changed the game again? Because I'm still trying to figure that out. So there it is. I kind of didn't want to do that song because it's a very done song. Like every reactor on damn YouTube has done this. And again, I don't think of myself as a traditional react video. I think of it as an education channel. But because so many people supported me through the quarantine, like May, June, July, I had the best months that I'd ever had. And I really appreciate you all. And I'm trying to really work hard for you and give you content that you will dig. And if you dug this one, please help me feed the algorithm with giving me a like, comment, and share. Maybe check out my Patreon, check out my merch store. And man, watching him is like me trying to explain like shit Neil deGrasse Tyson says. So I'm just going to be honest. And I like that about bands like this because it's so over my head. I can listen to it and not be analytical because I don't know what the fuck's going on. So I can just listen to it like a fan again, which is probably one of the reasons I listen to this kind of music. So thank you all very much. See you next time, and keep practicing until it's easy.